Hello friends, welcome to Mr. Moon Designs. In my channel we do unboxings, we do reviews, and we also do tutorials. And today I'm pleased to let you know that we're going to do both. We're going to open up the GGC Treasure Bag, the latest release, and we're also going to do a tutorial at the very end. And it's going to be a super quick and easy tutorial. We're going to make a necklace, a bracelet, and a pair of earrings. So if you're interested in that, please stick around till the end. And don't forget that I always model my jewelry at the end of my tutorials, and I wouldn't want you to miss out on that. But first we'll take a quick look at the GGC Treasure Bag that was released a couple of weeks ago. If you want to skip through that, you can always click on the timestamps to go directly to the tutorial. Now if you're not familiar with that bag, I'll leave some information down below in the description section of this video, along with a link to the website in case you're interested. As you can see, this very sparkly set is guaranteed to turn heads. I mean, how can it not, with all the sparkle and shine? The three pieces, the necklace, bracelet, and earrings are pretty dainty, so if you like that style, you're going to like this set. And like I said, it's super quick and easy to make. And I can't wait to show you, so let's go ahead and get started. And here we have the latest release of the GGC Treasure Bag. As you can see, it's a pretty huge bag. It normally comes packed with very long strands, lots of loose beads as well, and some metal items. Now this is not a subscription, it's a limited edition bag. It comes out every 2 months, and it usually comes in 2 different color schemes. So basically there are 2 bags that are released every 2 months. And of course you have the option of buying one or the other or both. I think this one went for $45. I think it varies depending on what's in the bag. Now by the time you see this video, this bag will probably be out of stock, but I wanted to show it to you anyway so you can get some idea of what you get in the treasure bags. What I recommend that you do if you don't want to miss out is to sign up for notifications. So the next time a bag is released, you'll be notified and you won't miss out. And you can do that right on the website. But anyway, like I said, it comes absolutely packed with beads, very long strands, pendants, and some findings as well. So you definitely get your money's worth. And I think the retail value is somewhere around $100. And like I said, there are 2 color schemes. In this latest release, they have Denim Days and Denim Nights, and this one's the Denim Days, so the beads are a little bit lighter, but I think they included some darker beads in this one, and in the Denim Nights, they included some lighter ones to balance it out. And that's enough talking. Let me show you what's in it. Just look at all these beads. And here's the contents, the list of contents. And look at this, guys. There are 26 items in this collection. That's quite a bit. At the top it says, it's a perfect blend of sparkle and boho charm to elevate your everyday denim wardrobe. How cool is that? I am so impressed. Look at this. We have quite a few beads here. Let me get organized and we'll take a look at all of them. Here are the first 4 strands. There's a total of 8 strands in this bag. And of course we also have a bunch of loose beads as well, which we'll take a look at in just a few moments. But look at these beautiful beads. I love these. They're so pretty. And we get gemstones this month, so that's nice. Let's take a look at them. These are sodalite beads. They're listed as frosted sodalite, and they measure 6 millimeters in size. And this strand is 14.5 inches long. Look at the variation in these beads. I love all the different colors too. The sparkle on these beads is absolutely mesmerizing. These are listed as coin beads, and the color is light steel blue, and they're electroplated. They measure 8 by 5 millimeters, and this is a 23-inch strand, so it's huge. You get a lot of beads here. Look at that. Look at the sparkle. Oh my goodness. And here's a 13-inch strand of golden frame oval beads, and they're called golden frame because, as you can see, they have a little bit of gold or bronze on the edges or on the sides. It's not all the way around the bead. But anyway, these measure 7 by 4.5 by 3.5 millimeters, and the color is royal blue. And here's a 16-inch strand of imitation opalite rondelle beads. They're faceted. It's nice to have lighter colored beads to pick up the light tones of the sodalite. And I like the size of these beads too. They're nice and small. Let me get the next 4 strands. Here are the next 4 strands. Once again, we have some gorgeous sparkly beads, but we also have some glass pearls. So that's nice, something different. It's nice to have different finishes and different types of beads. But I think what I like the best about this bag is that they include a lot of small beads, which are very trendy these days. Let's take a look at these. These are called faceted cuboid beads because of the shape. The color is light steel blue, and they measure 4 by 4 by 4 millimeters, and this strand is 15.5 inches long. Very, very sparkly as well. Look at that. And here we have a strand of faceted column beads. These measure 5.5 by 4 millimeters. The color is also light steel blue, just like those, and this is a 15.5 inch strand as well. These are called faceted triangle beads. The color is also light steel blue, just like these two. It may look a little different because of the way the light reflects, but it's the same colored glass. And these measure 4.5 by 4.5 by 5.5 millimeters. And the strand is 11 inches long, and there are 88 beads. And here are some gorgeous glass pearl beads. These measure 6 millimeters in size, and the color is creamy white. These would be perfect for a more formal jewelry piece, or you can use them as accents along with the crystal beads. The color is very warm too. It's a very warm, creamy white color. But anyway, this strand measures 15.5 inches long, and there are 70 beads. So those are the strands. And when you look at all of them like this, you can see that they did a great job of creating this bag. And like I said, this is an enormous amount of beads, and we haven't even included the loose beads. So let me go get the first set. As you can see, we have different shapes and sizes and finishes as well. Look at this one. That's really interesting looking. And these are actually gemstones. They're agate beads. But let's take a look at these. I'm going to slide them onto my rod so we can see how they're drilled. And here I have 8 of them. There's actually a total of 45 pieces. As you can see, there are quite a few there. These are so beautiful though. Look at the gorgeous plating. I love that blue reflection. It's so pretty. These are electroplated glass nugget beads. They measure 6.5 by 7 by 6 millimeters, and the color is Prussian blue. And here we have 6 agate beads. Back when I was doing painting, I would call that a distressed crackle effect. But it's very, very interesting looking. I really do like this effect. Look at that. It's so different. These are actually dyed, and the color is Prussian blue, and these measure 8 millimeters in size. And there's a total of 22, by the way. And here we have some electroplated glass heart beads. And are these darling or what? Look how adorable these are. I can see these on a bracelet. These measure 6 by 6 by 4 millimeters, and the color is steel blue, and there's a total of 20. As you can see, I only have 6 on my rod. And here we have 6 two-tone glass cube beads. They're very, very transparent, as you can see, and they measure 6 by 6 by 7 millimeters. The bag came with a total of 18. There are more down here, as you can see, and the color is actually rainbow, but it's very subtle. But if I turn the beads like this, you can kind of see the colors. I love these. And you can definitely see all the colors down here. And I don't think I've ever seen these before in the treasure bags. But anyway, let me get some more beads. Here are the next 4 items. I love that they included some porcelain beads. That just adds to the variety. Whenever I get a bag that has a lot of variety like that, I get lots of inspiration. And here we have some flower beads. Let me put them on my rod. I have 6 of them here. These measure 10.5 by 10.5 by 10.5 millimeters because they're pretty square shaped. Look at that. They definitely have 4 sides. They're listed as spray painted glass flower beads, and the color is deep blue. Here we have some very sparkly crystal bicone beads, and they're super sparkly because they're listed as grade AAA, which I'm assuming is a very high quality crystal, and the color is light blue, as you can see, and they measure 9.5 by 6 millimeters. Here we have some porcelain beads. They're handmade, and they measure 7 by 12 by 7 millimeters, and the color is Prussian blue. I like these because they have nice big holes, which means they're going to look great with leather cord. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to do, but that's just an idea. And here we have another set of porcelain beads. These are oval in shape, as you can see, and these are also handmade, but they have a tulip pattern, as you can see, or a floral pattern, and these have large holes as well. But I like these. They're very nice. So now we're going to take a look at some pendants and charms. Let me get them. Well, I said pendants and charms, but actually we have some more beads here. We have this beautiful Indonesia bead and some flower beads as well. But the rest are pendants or charms, depending on how you want to use them. This one's really pretty though. Gosh, look at that. I love Indonesia beads. They're handmade, and it has crystals embedded, as you can see, and beads as well. The nice thing about Indonesia beads is that they have a bead cap built in, and the hole is pretty big, so you could definitely slide some leather cord through it. But anyway, it measures 15 millimeters in diameter. And here we have some adorable metal flower beads. There's a total of 10, but as you can see, I have 5 of them on my rod. And these measure 9 by 5 millimeters. We have two very pretty filigree pendants. They're heart-shaped, as you can see. And the filigree has like a flower pattern. These measure 15 by 18 by 8.5 millimeters. And these would actually make really great earrings. Now, what would you put in this little bottle? I guess you could put perfume if you wanted to, or maybe some crystals. It even has a cork. Look at this. Now, I think I would probably glue it because I'd be afraid that it would come off. I'm not sure, but I like that it has a loop. But anyway, it measures 34 millimeters in length, and I like that it's transparent too. What a pretty blue color that is. Let me put something white behind it. Hopefully you can see the blue. It's so pretty. Now the color of this charm is a little different than the rest of the bag, but that's okay. I think it's still very pretty. The color is listed as aqua, and it measures 20 by 10 millimeters. I'm assuming the bead itself measures 10 millimeters, but if you include the top piece or the spacer, then you're looking at 20 millimeters. Now, I'm not sure about this one. It's listed as a horse pendant, but to me it looks kind of like a dragon. What do you think, guys? I think if you're into the dragon lore or fairy lore or fantasy jewelry, this might be a good pendant to have on one of those necklaces. It's actually pretty big. It measures 24 by 68 millimeters, and it has an opalite crystal, as you can see. And it has a bezel at the top, which you could actually remove if you wanted to. And here we have another pendant, but this one is a flower or a rose, as you can see. It measures 42 by 22 millimeters, and it has a nice big loop. There's the back. It has a brushed metal effect. I really do like the detail on this flower pendant. It's very pretty. Let me get the last few items. As you can see, we have some toggle clasps, some bead caps, and some chain. They always include some findings in these bags. So really the only thing you need to go out and find is beading wire and maybe some craft wire and head pins and jump rings, those kinds of things. But other than that, you have many of the findings you need to make jewelry pieces. I love the size of these toggle clasps. I think they're the perfect size. So now I'd like to go ahead and arrange everything on my table, and we'll take a look at the whole collection. Well, here's the whole collection, and as usual, I had a very difficult time fitting everything within the frame of my camera. But anyway, guys, as you can see, this beautiful assortment definitely captures what I would call a casual elegance of your favorite pair of worn-in jeans. But having said that, there's so much sparkle here. You could wear some worn-in jeans or a more upscale, classier pair of jeans. I love the harmonious blends of the blues, the creamy whites as well, and of course there's lots of sparkle and shimmer. And what makes this collection special are the different kinds of beads like the porcelain and the weathered agate, which adds a matte element to the finishes. I love the sodalite strand too. They're such pretty beads. And the pearls definitely add some elegance or a vintage touch if that's what you're looking for. And one thing I realized is that the eyes on the horse or the dragon, I'm going to say it's a dragon, match the crystal on that charm. It's the same aqua color. Actually, I would call it more of a teal color. So now that we've taken a quick look at the contents of this bag, let's go ahead and get started with today's project. I'm going to start by showing you how to make the bracelet. Now, since I've already gone over the beads, I'm not going to do it again, but I will list them down below in the description section of this video. I'll list the types and the sizes and everything. And of course, in addition to the beads, we're going to use some jump rings, a lobster clasp, an extended chain, and crimp tubes. I'm also going to be using some size 11/0 seed beads, and these are Miyuki rounds, and the color is silver. Let me put some out. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I use a bead arranging tool. This is called a magic rod, and I carry these in my Etsy store. It measures 12 inches in length, and it comes with little stoppers, which I use to bring the beads in close up against each other so that I can get accurate measurements. It's made out of steel, but it's very flexible, and it does retain its shape, which means that you can load large beads, small beads, along with seed beads, beads of different shapes and sizes, including square beads, nuggets. It's a very, very handy tool. And I know you can use a bead arranging tray. The trouble with that is that sometimes the beads don't stand upright, or you can't get them up against each other, especially when you're working with seed beads, whereas the rods actually help you do that. But anyway, I'll leave a link down below to my Etsy store in case you're interested. I'm going to start by removing this stopper. And by the way, these stoppers are actually very small. So if you're thinking about getting these rods, just keep that in mind because it is difficult for people with joint problems. But anyway, I'm going to start by loading, I think, one of these coin beads. And I love these because they're faceted on the sides, as you can see, but they're completely flat on the top and bottom. They're so pretty. And then a seed bead. And two of these triangle beads. Another seed bead. Another one of these coin beads. another seed bead, 2 triangle beads, another seed bead, and that's basically the pattern. Now I didn't put a seed bead there because that's where my crimp tube's going to go, and I'm actually going to use a crimp cover as well. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do for the entire bracelet. So let me keep going. As you can see, I have all my beads on the rod. Another thing I wanted to mention, guys, if you're thinking about getting these rods, it's critical that you use enough stoppers on the ends to keep the beads in place if you're using large beads. Sometimes if the beads are really heavy and you only have one stopper, they may slide off the rod, and that can be pretty frustrating. So there's something to keep in mind. But anyway, now we're going to string these, and I'm going to use 49 strand beading wire. This one's 0.015 of an inch in diameter, or 0.38 millimeters, and the color is bright brilliant or silver. I'm going to cut myself a 10-inch piece, and that's because I'm giving myself a little extra on the ends for the crimping. I recommend anywhere between 10 and 12 inches, depending on how big your wrist is. Here it is. I'm going to place a clip on the end to keep the beads in place. You can use a bead stopper. And now to offload from the rod, I'm going to hold onto this end, slide the stopper off this end carefully, and then offload from the rod directly onto my beading wire. And since the rods hold beads in alignment, I can grab multiples at a time, just like that. So let me keep going. Okay, I've strung on all the beads. The total length is about 6 1/4 inches right now, but by the time I add the crimp tubes, the wire guardians, the crimp covers, jump rings, and a clasp, it's going to end up being about 7 inches. So you need to take that into account. So now we just need to crimp off the ends. And I actually want to add an extended chain. So here's a piece of chain. I think it measures about 1 inch or so. I don't like my extended chains to be really long on bracelets. I don't mind having long ones on a necklace, but on a bracelet, a long extended chain kind of gets in the way. So let's go ahead and crimp it off. I'm going to slide on a crimp tube first. And now a wire guardian. Like that. I'm going to take the tail and go down the other end of the wire guardian. Like so. And now I'm going to take my chain and slide it into the wire guardian. Just like that. And now through the crimp tube. And you do want to separate your beading wire the best way you can. Sometimes it's difficult to tell what's happening inside that crimp tube, but if you hold it like this, you should be able to do it. Let me close these little legs a little bit first. Separate my beading wire. Using the first notch, the one that's closest to the handle, it's the one that creates the U shape. I'm going to place that tube inside that notch. Make sure the wire guardian is not involved, and I'm going to squeeze. And now I'm going to turn it sideways and place it inside the second notch from the tip. You can use any of the notches. I just like the second one the best. Let me just put it in there and then I'll show you. There it is. You want to make sure that it's sideways. And now I'm going to squeeze, and that folds the crimp tube over. And then I like to use the tip to tighten it up a little bit. So that part's done. And now let me slide one of these crimp covers onto my crimp tube. I like to go in from underneath. It's a little bit easier that way. And now let me close it. Let me go this way to get a nice round shape. So that part's done. And now I'm going to slide through, I think, one of these beads. You could slide through more if you wanted to. I just find that if you slide through too many beads, the bracelet can get a little stiff. And now I'm going to snip off the excess beading wire. Slide my beads down. And I'm going to do the same thing. Slide on a crimp tube. A wire guardian. Going in one end. And now down the other end. And now through the crimp tube. Let me pull the tail a little bit. And now I'm going to go through this first bead. Pull the tail. And bring everything down. Obviously, it's going to be really difficult to figure out whether or not that beading wire is separated inside the crimp tube. Let me close these legs a little bit. And you do want a little space there for the crimp cover. Make sure there are no spaces. So now let me go ahead and place the tube inside that first notch. The other thing you want to do is to pull on the tail to make sure the beading wire is sitting inside that wire guardian. And now I'm going to squeeze, turn it sideways, place it inside the second notch, squeeze again, and tighten it up. So that's done. And now I'm going to place my crimp cover on, going in from underneath. There we go. And close it up. And you do want to go around the whole thing. And now let me trim off the excess beading wire. As you can see, it's nice and fluid. That's what you want. I do want to embellish that extended chain, and I'm going to use one of the little triangle beads. I have one on a ball head pin, as you can see. I'm going to grab the pin with my round nose pliers like this, bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to open up this loop like that. Slide my chain into it, just like that. I'm going to grab the loop with these pliers because the tips are nice and skinny and I can grab really well. And now with these pliers, I'm going to grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess. If you see a little end, you want to tuck it in. So now the extended chain is done. Here's a lobster clasp. I'm going to use a 4mm size jump ring. And by the way, these pliers are called tapered flat nose pliers. I like to use these for small jump rings because the tips are 2mm wide. I'm going to open it up, slide my clasp into it, slide the wire guardian into it as well, and close it. So this is done. Super, super easy. I love easy projects, I really do. And I love how sparkly this bracelet is. Let me put it on. Actually, I'll just drape it over my wrist. There it is. I absolutely love those rondelles. They're so beautiful. So whether you're a beginner or advanced, hopefully you'll enjoy this tutorial. It's nice to have a quick and easy project like this for a dinner event or a last minute gift. Now I've already made the necklace to match the bracelet. Basically, you would just do the same thing that I just did for this bracelet, except you would use more beads, obviously, to get the length that you want. Let me go get the necklace and I'll show you. Well, here's the necklace and bracelet set. Like I mentioned earlier, I used the exact same bead pattern and the same technique to finish it off, except on the necklace I used a much longer extended chain. And even though this project is super easy, this set is really, really cute. I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. The earrings are just as easy. I've already made one. There it is. It's very simple, as you can see. On my ball head pin, I have a rondelle and 3 triangle beads. I'm going to do a wrap loop, so I'm going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, and continue to wrap to the back. Now you can open up the loop and insert the ear wire hook, or you can finish it off with wraps and then open up the loop of the ear wire hook. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and close off this loop with wraps. So I'm going to grab the tail and create a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess pin. Tuck in the little end if you see one. So now the earring's finished. I have an ear wire hook. I'm going to go ahead and open up the loop. Insert my earring into it and close it up. So now I have a matching pair of earrings. And that's all there is to it, guys. It's very easy. So if you're new to jewelry making, I encourage you to do this project. The most difficult part would be crimping and adding the crimp covers, but everything else is pretty easy. As always, I'd like to go ahead and model these for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.